Today in this video, I am breaking down all 15 West Metro suburbs so you can decide not only which one fits your budget, but also your commute and your lifestyle. I'm gonna give you the key stats and the lifestyle vibe on each one so you know exactly where you should be looking. And hang with me till the end because I'm gonna reveal both my most underrated and the most overrated of the whole bunch. Let's get into it. A quick 20 seconds of context just so you understand how we're setting this video up. So we are going to be looking at West Metro inner ring suburbs. And what I mean by inner ring is there is the Beltway, which is 694 and 494 on the south that runs around the Twin Cities Metro proper. So these suburbs need to be at least partially inside of that Beltway and to the west side of 35W. There are 15 suburbs. We're gonna get into them all right now. Our first stop today and the most affordable entry point into the West Metro is going to be Brooklyn Center. Now, this is a suburb almost straight north of Minneapolis. Population is going to be about 33,000. And yes, if you look on a map, you will see that the majority of this suburb sneaks out and bleeds over that 694 Beltway. But part of it falls within, so it's within our range. Now, this is a suburb for buyers that are mainly prioritizing value and convenience because Brooklyn Center will deliver on both. Median single family home price in Brooklyn Center is just $310,000. That is number one in the West Metro as far as home value goes. It's also got very strong highway access. You've got 610, you've got 694, you've got Highway 100. So freeway access in and out of the city for Brooklyn Center is going to be very, very strong. Thing to know about Brooklyn Center, depending on where you live in that suburb, I believe that suburb is served like something like 4 different school districts. So if you're thinking about making a move there, drop me a line or do your own research, but dig into the school districts a little bit and understand, depending on your actual address, might dictate your school district in Brooklyn Center. Beyond that, a few just other interesting things. It's pretty near the Mississippi River, so you've got some cool nature access there. You've got Palmer Lake Park in the middle of Brooklyn Center. That's a nice lake with a 3.1 mile walking loop. Pretty cool little spot to check out. And maybe one of the most interesting things about Brooklyn Center, it is one of the most diverse suburbs in the Minneapolis area. Kind of cool. Minneapolis definitely is working on our diversity. We're getting better. Brooklyn Center already knocks that one out of the park. My name is Chris, by the way. I have been a West Metro native virtually my entire life. I grew up here. I know this area well. If anything we're talking about, we are going to cover a lot of information, sticks out, or you want a deeper dive on an area, contact information is right here. It's also down below. Drop me a line, shoot me an email. Let's have a chat, and now let's get into suburb number 2. Well, our second stop on our tour today, the West Metro suburbs, is going to bring us just a little bit south and a tad bit west to lovely Crystal, Minnesota. And Crystal, Minnesota is going to be number 2 for affordable entry points into the West Metro. Crystal's got a population of about 33,000 and a median home value of $325,000, making it very reasonable compared to a lot of the West Metro. And a few things to know about Crystal. Crystal has a lot in common with Brooklyn Center. It's got very good freeway access. Travel time to work is similar, coming in at just 22 minutes. You've got Highway 100 right there, 169. Freeway access and getting around is going to be very easy. I do like Crystal's location a little bit better than I like that of Brooklyn Center because you are definitely closer to Minneapolis proper, but you're also closer to some of these other suburbs, places like Eden Prairie, Plymouth, Lake Minnetonka, some of these other things, big draws to the area. Crystal will definitely beat Brooklyn Center a little bit in that department. A couple other cool things just to know about Crystal. For a community of its size, it punches above its weight in the parks and rec department. Don't quote me on this, but they've got something like 26 parks and 236 acres of parkland. They also have the Crystal Cove Aquatic Center, which is a very popular community spot. That underwent a major renovation, so that's a pretty cool thing to be aware of. So Crystal is going to be number 2 on the list, and that's going to take us to our number 3 stop where we're heading right now. We are going to slide just a little bit east, a smidge closer to Minneapolis, where we will find our first ring suburb, Robbinsdale. I am a fan of Robbinsdale, and I'm going to tell you why right now. To start, let's get the basics out of the way. Median single family home value in Robbinsdale is $330,000. It's worth noting right now, these things are selling at 101% of list price. It is a popular place to be. Population of Robbinsdale is going to be about 14 to 15,000, so it is significantly smaller than just about everybody on this list. And for me, here's what makes Robbinsdale very different than, say, places like Crystal, Brooklyn Center, even Brooklyn Park. Those other places, as does Robbinsdale, brings a lot of value to the table just as far as home prices. What Robbinsdale has that a lot of these other, we'll call them more affordable places, do not have is Robbinsdale's got a lot more soul and character than some of these other places. It is a very strong option for buyers who care just as much about that soul as they do about price. It's got a very unique, small, walkable downtown. That's a very big deal. If you've seen any of my other videos about the West Metro, there's not many other suburbs that can lay claim to having a walkable main street and walkable downtown. I think that's a big deal. It adds a lot of charm and soul to the cities. You're gonna find homes are a bit older in age, and that can be a good or bad depending on how you look at it. I would say the positive spin there is these homes are gonna have a bit more character, which is kind of nice if you're one of those buyers. Served by the Robbinsdale School District, right on the eastern edge of Minneapolis is gonna be Robbinsdale, and we are moving on to our next stop, which is gonna be Richfield. We are gonna slide pretty much straight south of Minneapolis, and we are going to find ourselves in Richfield. Richfield comes in with a median home value higher than everybody else, but still below that 400K. Median home value is going to be about $365,000. It's tight, 1.2 months supply. Homes there are selling at almost 101% of list price. Richfield's got about 37,000 residents, so it's not huge, it's not tiny. Richfield is not going to be flashy, but it is extremely practical, and for location, practicality, commute times, it's going to be really, really hard to beat, and here's why. Just north of Richfield, you've got Minneapolis, okay? Just to the west of Richfield, you've got the heavy hitter Edina. That means you can get all of Edina's fancy amenities without paying that massive cost to get into Edina. That's coming up later, by the way. And it's also got some really cool stuff. I mean, in Richfield, Minneapolis is just north of you. Just south of you, you've got Minneapolis International Airport, which is a fantastic airport. Richfield is probably going to be number one to commute times for the airport. So if you are someone jumping on flights on a regular basis for work, for business or pleasure travel, what have you, Richfield might be a place to have on your radar. Similar to Robbinsdale, it's got a bit of an older housing stock. It's a very established neighborhood. It's very practical feeling. And again, with its location, that 365 median single family home value, Richfield brings an awful lot of value for people who want to get into the metro with great location, great access to the airport, great access to the Mall of America. If you like that, Richfield might just be your jam. Our next stop, we are going to head a little bit north, a little bit west, and we are going to end up in Brooklyn Park, which is actually, believe it or not, Minnesota's 6th largest city with a population something right about 85,000 residents. Now, similar to Brooklyn Center, what you're going to see is a small portion of Brooklyn Park drops inside our magical boundary of that 694, 494 Beltway. The majority of it is going to be outside the Beltway, but we're going to talk about it. So Brooklyn Park, this is going to be much more spread out and have a lot more diversity in the neighborhoods than some of the others that we have talked about so far. It is going to feel more suburban than places like Robbinsdale or Crystal. Just something to have on the radar depending on what you like about feel. Similar to Brooklyn Center, Brooklyn Park is going to be served by 3 or 4 different school districts again, so understand if you're moving to Brooklyn Park, your school district might very much depend on your very specific address. Brooklyn Park is a great spot for nature lovers. They've got a lot of green space. Don't quote me on this, but I think Brooklyn Park has something like 1,300 acres of green space, which is a lot. And Brooklyn Park is really less about having one central identity and more of kind of having a variety of options scattered around within that community. So it's also going to be one of the more diverse suburbs you're going to find around the Minneapolis area. So we've got one more stop on our value-driven suburbs here, and that is going to take us over to New Hope. New Hope is going to be just a little bit south and a little bit west of Brooklyn Park, and it's going to be very centrally located, kind of in the Northwest Metro, and that is one of the nice things about it. Median home value in New Hope is going to be $375,000, 1.3 months of supply. You're going to notice that all of these value-driven suburbs are very tight on the supply side of things. And New Hope is going to be a little bit smaller than some of these as well, about 21,000 people. And New Hope is going to be, it's very compact, it is very straightforward, it is very practical. I'm not going to tell you that New Hope is going to muster up a lot of strong emotional vibes. It's probably not the first choice for that emotional purchase on this list, but it is a great choice for buyers who want reasonable pricing and very good access to the rest of the cities. The main selling point of New Hope is definitely going to be its entry point and its practicality. They do pretty well on parks. They got something like 230 to 250 acres of green space. New Hope will also be served primarily by the Robbinsdale School District. That's something to have on your radar. So that is going to bring us to a conclusion with our value-driven suburbs here in the West Metro. These are places where you can get in for under $400K. Next, we are going to step up into this move-up tier. So we are going to jump up a little bit in price. I'm going to call these the move-up suburbs, and these are going to be places around the West Metro where you can get into a single-family home for right around $400K to right about $500, maybe a smidge over. So that's what we're going to talk about next. These suburbs are going to be a bit higher end, a bit more options for buyers, a few more amenities, but without creeping up into that premium bracket. So let's get going. And our first stop here is going to be Bloomington. Bloomington is a big city, got almost 90,000 residents. It's pretty much straight south of Minneapolis, and it is a pretty well-known suburb. Bloomington has a lot of major employers. It is a very convenient location. You've got 494 and 35W right there, so you've got the metro at your fingertips from an access standpoint. Bloomington is also extremely close to the airport, again, so you guys that are hopping on planes for travel or pleasure on a regular basis, Bloomington is a spot that should be on the radar. Bloomington's perhaps greatest claim to fame, if you're not a local, it is home to what I like to call the Mall of Hysteria. Better known to you guys probably as the Mall of America, but you will find the Mall of America seated properly right in Bloomington, my shopping friends. This is the shopping paradise you've been looking for. A couple other just notes about Bloomington here before we move on. Another pretty cool sneaky thing about Bloomington is you've got the Minnesota Wildlife Refuge Valley running right through Bloomington, so you've got some great green space, places to get out and walk. You can get into parts of Bloomington and it feels like you are miles away from anybody. I can tell you that Bloomington is one of my favorite places to go and take a hike. Big enough that different pockets of Bloomington, there are pockets of West Bloomington that can feel very premium, and you will find home values creeping up into the millions of dollars. Supply is also very tight in Bloomington. It's a desirable spot to be, 1.1 months of supply. So that's Bloomington. We're gonna sneak over to our next stop, which is gonna be Hopkins. Well, you will find Hopkins north and just a smidge west, pretty much just basically north of Bloomington. And I could talk for a long time about Hopkins, so we're gonna try and keep the lid on the bottle here. Hopkins is gonna be one of these smaller suburbs. Residents got about 19,000 residents. Median home value is about 410,000. Hopkins is tight. There is just 1 month of supply at the moment. Homes on average are selling at about 100% of list price. Here's why I love Hopkins. For my money, you are not gonna beat the location. You are smack dab central in the middle of West Metro. You buttress right up against Edina. What that means is you can get, wait till we get to the median family home prices for Edina, okay? So you can get all of those great Edina amenities, parks, restaurants, all those things. If you live in Hopkins, it's a 10 to 15 minute drive, and wait till you see how much you're gonna save on the home prices when we get to Edina. The other thing that makes Hopkins really, really unique for me, and I spend a lot of time in Hopkins, and that's very intentional, is its downtown. It beats Robbinsdale here. Robbinsdale to me is really the only other spot I would even mention on this list, but Hopkins has a very, very charming, I don't use that word too often, Hopkins has a very charming, walkable downtown. You can spend an evening there, you can find breweries, you can find great restaurants, people are friendly, it's got a very small town feel. You can spend an evening walking down Main Street, hitting a couple different restaurants, brew pubs, maybe catching some live music. It's just a lot to do. It's got a very small town feel, and it is a great fit for you guys out there who are looking for more than just a home. You want a character, you want a place that feels like community. Hopkins should be number one on that list, in my opinion. It just punches so far above its weight. It's going to be served by the Hopkins School District, which is a very large, very diverse district. Do your own homework on that. Reach out to me if you've got questions. But that's going to be Hopkins. Hopkins is one of my favorites on this whole list. So moving right along. Sliding just a little bit north and just a smidge east of Hopkins, you're going to find St. Louis Park, Minnesota. And this is going to be a first ring suburb right on the western edge of Minneapolis. So let's talk about it. Population of St. Louis Park is going to be right about 50,000. It's a good sized suburb, about 10 square miles. Median single family home value in St. Louis Park is $420,000. Very good value to get you into the West Metro. Where St. Louis Park really wins, it wins in a few areas. Its central location in the West Metro is a huge deal. You're right off of 394. You've got Highway 100 right there, so you've got great freeway access in addition to being on the doorstep of Minneapolis. On your southern border, similar to Hopkins, you've got Edina, that heavy hitter, and all these fantastic amenities that Edina brings. You can live in St. Louis Park, drive 10 minutes, and still get all of those amenities, which I think is a pretty big deal. We also, in St. Louis Park, if you're not familiar, we have the West End. Now, this is a relatively new, massive outdoor shopping complex. It's designed to be very walkable. It's actually a cool, really spot. They've got a bunch of really good restaurants. There's a movie theater. They have farmers markets. There's a lot to do. It is definitely one of the kind of the central life places of St. Louis Park. You got your Costco in St. Louis Park, of course. And then down kind of on the southeast corner of St. Louis Park, you've also got this area called Wolf Park. That's just a really cool area. There's an amphitheater. It's very walkable. There is a fantastic aquatic center in St. Louis Park. It's a great spot to bring the kids. So St. Louis Park is not flashy. I would call it a bit more hip than places like Hopkins, I think partially just because you're close to the Twin Cities. You'll find a lot of up-and-comers, young people living there, moving into that are commuting downtown for work on a daily basis. So St. Louis Park, great value, great location, a lot of amenities right on the doorstep of Minneapolis. Well, our last stop in the move-up category today is going to be Golden Valley. And I'll tell you right now, Golden Valley could have gone either way. It's right on kind of that upper end of move-up buyers, flirting with moving into those premium suburbs. But for today's purposes anyway, we are going to lump it in as the last one with the move-up suburbs. So let's talk about it. Golden Valley is going to be a first ring suburb immediately on the western edge of Minneapolis and the Bryn Mawr neighborhood, which is another super cool spot. Check it out, by the way. Population of Golden Valley is going to be 22,000, so it's not as big as some of the others. We are moving up in income. Median income in Golden Valley breaks through the 100K mark, comes in at $114,000. Some cool things to know about Golden Valley. Number one, Golden Valley is right on the edge of Minneapolis's largest park, and that is Theodore Wirth Park. I call this Minneapolis' Central Park. It's over 700 acres. Check out Theodore Wirth. I mean, there is something there for everyone. Hiking, skiing, downhill skiing, sledding, frisbee golf, regular golf, horseback ride. I mean, I can go on and on. Mountain biking. It is an extremely diverse park system. It is, again, one of these places within the city borders of Minneapolis that you can get into and feel like you are miles away from everything, and it's right on your doorstep if you live in Golden Valley. Golden Valley is served by both the Hopkins and Robbinsdale school districts, so another one of these places. Just remember, if you're going to move to Golden Valley, your actual address might dictate your school district, so do your homework there. Reach out to me if I can help you out. Supply is a little bit better in Golden Valley, 2.1 months, and perhaps it has to do with prices. So median home value in Golden Valley, this is going to be the first time we're going to break the 500K mark, and median home value in Golden Valley is $512,000. You will find Breck, which is one of a very prestigious private school of, I can never say this word, Episcopalian affiliation. You will find that located right in Golden Valley. Golden Valley's got a lot of green space thanks in part to Theodore Wirth. Golden Valley is also one of these places you can, I'm dead serious, you can be on your bike, hop on the bike trail, and be at a Twins game downtown Minneapolis, avoid the parking, avoid the people, which I love, and get to a Twins game in 10 to 15 minutes from your house in Golden Valley. So you have great access to the Twin Cities. So that's going to round up our move-up category, and we are going to now step into some of these West Metro heavy hitters in the premium category. Gotta say it just again, we are covering an awful lot of information, school districts, home prices, all these things. So if something in here is sticking out, if you want more information on one of these particular areas, again, contact information is all here. It's down below. Drop me a line so I can help you out and we can make this more personal to you. Let's keep it rolling. Well, our first stop on premium suburbs here, we are going to find right up in the northwest corner of the metro. And that's going to be Maple Grove. Maple Grove comes in the door with a population of 71,000 people. Median single-family home value creeps up here to $535,000. So significantly more expensive than some of these value-driven. Not as expensive as some of the guys we got coming up here, though, however. Maple Grove is primarily served by the Osseo School District. You will find small portions of Maple Grove, at least claimed to be in Maple Grove, that are served by the Wayzata School District. So again, something to be aware of. If you do end up in one of those parts served by the Wayzata district, expect to pay a bit more of a premium for that home. Maple Grove in general has a very different feeling than anything we have talked about thus far. The vibe of Maple Grove is very polished. It's very new feeling. It's very amenity driven. To me personally, it feels kind of like quintessential suburbia. That's not a huge draw for me. That doesn't mean it's not for you. You will find a lot of retail, dining options. You will find Costco, all the things you will expect up there. One note on this stuff, the retail dining options, yeah, there's a ton of them. To me, I have a hard time getting excited about them. What you're gonna find primarily is a lot of chains, a lot of big national chains, so you're not gonna find that super cool unique restaurant or that really cool shop, because again, it's a lot of chains. You guys that like suburban comfort, you like amenities, you like homes that are a bit newer, Maple Grove is a spot that you should definitely have on the radar. They also get a lot of things right in Maple Grove. They've got something like 36 miles of paved hiking trails. They've got over 1,000 acres of green space. Location, obviously, you're a little bit further out from the rest of the metro, being out there on that northwest corner, so commute times do creep up somewhere around 25 to 30 minutes. But that can also work for you as well when you want to escape the metro because you're more on the edge, getting out west, getting into the country and away from the people and urban sprawl. If that's your jam, Maple Grove will deliver better for you than some of these suburbs that are closer into the city. So that's Maple Grove. Next, we are going to move just south down to Plymouth, Minnesota. As I mentioned, just a little bit south of Maple Grove, we are going to find Plymouth, Minnesota. And Plymouth, a few things about Plymouth. Plymouth is definitely a premium West Metro established suburb. It comes in the door, it's a big one, about 80,000 residents, and median single family home value here for the first time, we're gonna break the 600K mark. Single family home median value in Plymouth is going for $607,000, so we are definitely creeping up here in price. Plymouth is also another one of these areas served by 4 different school districts. So don't just move into Plymouth and think you're getting the same thing. There can be a pretty big variety. The majority of Plymouth is going to be served by the Wayzata School District. Do your own homework, but what you're going to find is year in and year out, Wayzata is consistently ranked top 3 in the state, and it's often at the very tippy top. That serves the majority of Plymouth. However, Plymouth is also served by the Osseo School District, the Robbinsdale School District, and the Hopkins School District. So there is a total of 4. Have that on your radar because your school district is also significantly going to affect your property value in Plymouth. I can tell you that. Plymouth has a very strong housing stock. It's got strong incomes. It's got an educated population base. It's got a very polished suburban feel, and Plymouth is less about having kind of one central identity and is more about spreading out a very high quality of life across that whole suburb. This is going to be more for buyers, you guys that want a bigger yard, a bit more space. Plymouth has a very wide variety of housing options, and it feels very comfortable, it's very safe, and it's very high functioning. I can't tell you can go wrong with Plymouth because it's got a lot of great big things going for it. The one thing I will say about Plymouth, I spend a lot of time in Plymouth, I'm up that way quite a bit. Plymouth is great. To me, lacks a little bit of an identity. You can be in the dead center of Plymouth or on the very edge of Plymouth or on the other edge of Plymouth. And to me, it all feels kind of the same. There is no, like Hopkins has this great downtown walkable main street where you can feel the soul, the culture, the vibe of the city. Plymouth doesn't really have that. That's just something to keep in mind. What Plymouth does have is 68 parks, over 1,800 acres of green space, and 186 miles of biking and walking path going through that community. So it's great for getting out, enjoying the outdoor space, given that it is on the western edge of the metro. If you want to get out of suburbia and the city proper, that western location helps that a lot for sure. So that's going to be Plymouth. We're moving on to our next heavy hitter premium suburb, the place that I call home. That's going to be Minnetonka. Minnetonka, I think this is where we start cracking into category with some potentially national name recognition, getting that true premium suburban feel. So Minnetonka is basically straight west of Minneapolis. Population is going to be about 53,000 people, and median home value here is going to be just a smidge over Plymouth coming in at $610,000 for a single family home. I will tell you, you can get into Minnetonka for mid to high 400s. Depending on what you get, you're probably not going to get a super turnkey home. You could probably get something a little bit older that needs a little work, but will still get you into Minnetonka. So Minnetonka, like a lot of these West Metro suburbs, served by two primary school districts. Number one is going to be the Minnetonka School District. Now, Minnetonka School District is going to be up there in the top 3 year in and year out. It's up there with Wayzata and Edina schools every year. So Minnetonka, a huge portion of that, served by the Minnetonka School District. You are getting a top 3 district in the state. There is also a significant portion of Minnetonka that is served by the Hopkins School District. Not knocking Hopkins schools at all. What you will see is, if you do your own research, is just that Minnetonka is a bit more highly rated. So again, don't just move into Minnetonka and think you're getting that premium school district. Make sure you check your address, see what school district it's going to be served by. You know, beyond that, what I can tell you about Minnetonka is this. What Minnetonka absolutely nails is the green space, the proximity to nature, just the feel. It is an extremely established community. You will find old growth trees in a lot of the neighborhoods. There are little lakes and ponds, I kid you not, seemingly tucked in everywhere around Minnetonka. So it's got a very strong connection to nature, a very green feel, if I can make up a word. Great bike access to some of the major trails. You can get way out west or east very easily on your bike. The other thing Minnetonka brings, of course, you've got great shopping with the Ridgedale Mall. So you've got some high-end amenities there. You've also got great proximity to Lake Minnetonka. Now, Lake Minnetonka is not in Minnetonka, contrary to popular belief, but it is just off the western border there. So you're right on the doorstep of what I would call the Twin Cities Metro premier lake for recreating, getting out, seeing people, things like that. The downside to Minnetonka, as someone who lives here, I will say, similar to what I said to Plymouth, Minnetonka is a great place. I like the proper downtowns. There is no proper downtown. There is no walkable main street. It's a pretty car-dependent layout. So that's just something to keep in mind. You can decide if that's good or bad for you, but Minnetonka brings an awful lot to the table with their school district, their proximity to Lake Minnetonka, and just the green space you will find in this community. We're just going to keep working our way south here a little bit. So just south of Minnetonka, you're going to find another West Metro premium heavy hitter, and that is going to be Eden Prairie. So Eden Prairie, good size, 63,000 people, median single family home value in Eden Prairie is going to come in at $635,000, just under 2 months supply of inventory. So tight, not as tight as some of these other places, some of the more value-driven options. So let's talk about Eden Prairie. Eden Prairie, first of all, unlike a lot of these other ones, is primarily served by one school district. That's going to be Eden Prairie School District. Very good school district. As always, do your own homework, but what you're going to find is Eden Prairie does very, very well. Eden Prairie is home to some major employers. Have you ever heard of United Health Group? United Health Group is headquartered out of Eden Prairie, Minnesota. You've also got C.H. Robinson, the logistics giant, and you have Starkey Hearing Technologies, which is the largest North American hearing aid manufacturer, tucked right into Eden Prairie. So there are some strong and some good job options in Eden Prairie. Eden Prairie gets a lot of things right. Again, similar to Plymouth, if you start Googling, what you will find is Eden Prairie knocks it out nationally on a lot of these quality of life ranking surveys. Crime is exceptionally low. It's an extremely safe place. It's got a lot in common with Minnetonka. You've got a good variety of housing stock. You've got, relatively, modestly priced homes for Eden Prairie are probably in the upper 400s, all the way up into the tens of millions when you get down into that Minnesota River Valley area. You've got a lot of green space, you've got a lot of parks, you've got a lot of good dining and shopping options. You've got the Eden Prairie Mall. Again, though, I would say it's kind of similar to Minnetonka and Maple Grove in this way. Eden Prairie, a lot of those dining and shopping options, they're big national chains. They're stuff you're familiar with. I'm not going to Minnetonka, Plymouth, or Eden Prairie to pick my favorite restaurant or to go to some unique shopping place. Eden Prairie, also like Minnetonka, is going to be a very car-dependent layout. And, unless you happen to live in a very specific pocket, whether you need to go get groceries or go grab a coffee or go meet a friend, you're probably hopping in the car to do so. So that's just something to keep in mind. The big difference for me here, like Eden Prairie versus Minnetonka, Eden Prairie just feels, and it is, much more of a planned community. It feels very quintessential suburbia. Minnetonka, for example, has got a much more diverse mix of neighborhoods, housing stocks. It just feels a bit different from neighborhood to neighborhood, whereas Eden Prairie feels a lot more homogeneous from neighborhood to neighborhood. That's going to be Eden Prairie. That is number 2 on our list for premium suburbs. I'm sure you guys know where we're going next, so I will see you over there in just a minute. Here we are, directly south of Minneapolis in lovely, you already know it, Edina. Edina. Let's talk about it. Edina comes in with 53,000 residents, so it's very similar in size to Minnetonka. Here's where Edina separates by a long shot from everybody else. So Eden Prairie was number 2 on our list at 637,000 for median single family home value. Check this out. Edina comes in the door with a median single family home value of 900,000, and that's up almost 100,000 year over year. So yeah, it's expensive. People also want to be there, as you can see by the appreciation rates and appreciation numbers. So Edina has a lot going for it, and it better at this price point, as you would expect. Edina is going to be served by Edina School District. That's going to be right up there with Wayzata and Minnetonka. It's probably a top 3 district in the state. Again, do your own research. But Edina High School is one of the best options in the metro for sure. Edina, out of the whole bunch, carries the biggest brand recognition, prestige, if you will. And don't get me wrong, you are absolutely, I would call it a zip code tax. You are paying a premium just to have that Edina address. I'm not saying that's good or bad, but it's something to understand. A huge part of Edina's appeal is just its central location. You're just south of Minneapolis. You are right near Minneapolis's famous chain of lakes. You've got the area of 50th and France, huge draw. We've got some videos on that, check that out. But 50th and France, you will find a lot of very cool boutique shopping, some very cool original great spots to go grab lunch or dinner. Super cool, very walkable part of Edina that's definitely worth checking out. We've also got the Southdale Mall and Galleria, Restoration Hardware. Edina packs a big punch when it comes to high-end shopping, and of course amenities. Amenities will be strewn liberally and all over Edina, part of what you're paying for in Edina. Mature neighborhoods, of course, you've got great commute times of about 20 minutes. The massive drawback to Edina is the obvious one. It is the price tag at $900K. I mean, we're almost 30% above the next most expensive suburb, that being Eden Prairie. But again, Edina brings an awful lot to the table as long as you can stomach that price tag. Well, I told you if you stuck with me till the end, I would show you or reveal my most underrated and my most overrated from this list. So let's chat a little bit about that. So my most underrated suburb, and I hope I didn't give it away in the video, is gonna be Hopkins. Just over the past couple of years, I have absolutely fallen in love with this place. The location is premium. You're right next to Edina, so you're right in the heart of the West Metro. It's very easy to drive to anywhere you want. You've got that fantastic, soul-filled, awesome Main Street. I mean, check out Hopkins Main Street. It is a fantastic spot. And here's the sneaky rub. If you know where to look in Hopkins, there's parts of Northern Hopkins and a few select parts where you can get some absolutely fantastic homes, but you can get them for less than you would pay in a place like Edina or Minnetonka, frankly, because they're in Hopkins. So Hopkins is my underrated choice on this list. It just punches way above its value. And the flip side, of course, is going to be the most overrated suburb. Man, I hate to say this because I was born there. Edina. I'm sorry. I am not knocking Edina. Don't come at me out there, you guys that live in Edina. Edina is a great place. There is a reason so many people want to be there. But personally, I can't get over the $900,000 sticker shock. I just can't. You know, for all that it brings to the table, you can go just a little south to Richfield or just a little bit east to Hopkins, and you can drive 10 minutes and get pretty much everything Edina brings to the table and pay quite literally a fraction of the price for house. So I have nothing bad to say about Edina, but that sticker price compared to everything else we looked at, it's just too hard for me to move past. Well, that's going to be our West Metro tour. I hope you learned something. I hope it was helpful. If you found this video helpful, please give me a like. Really appreciate it. If you want a deeper dive or more information on any of these suburbs we talked about, contact information is all right here. It's also down below. Drop me a line. As you can see from this video, a lot of these places you can move into one community but have 4 different school districts. Prices, values, amenity, all those things can vary a lot depending on what part of town you land in with any of these specific communities. So thanks again for watching. My name is Chris, and I will see you on the next video real soon.